50 years ago, a small handful of families had a dream to create a synagogue here on the North Shore. And literally reaching out from their own homes, they built the foundation upon which our temple now stands. It took hard work, dedication, vision, and faith. And there was something else, a spirit. And that spirit has seen the temple through many joyful occasions and times of difficulty as well. The history of Temple Emanu-El is our tradition to cherish.
It's always exciting to be at the start of something.
It was building a whole new edifice, if you will, a whole new institution. At that time, Alfred Gross and his wife had lived across the street from the Old North Church and became friendly with the parishioners there, and that led us into the Old North Church, using the parish house, and then in the church in Swampscott. The first time the religious school met was in the YMCA of Marblehead, and then when the Jewish Community Center was in Lynn, the children went there for the religious school until we had our building in place. The land was consecrated, the temple was dedicated, and the families all did capsules into the cornerstone.
I remember everybody was there, almost the entire congregation at that point, which of course wasn't very large. I believe there were some local dignitaries too. It was sunny. It was nice.
And if it wasn't, it was sunny in all of our hearts.
Another reason that I think we did so well was because of our rabbi, who was really instrumental in getting the temple on its feet.
You couldn't help get the fever and want to join in, want to help out, want to be a part of it.
Our people-to-people weekend, where we used to have college students come to stay at congregants' houses.
They were from all countries, Nairobi, India. We'd take them out to Topsfield, to Meredith Farm, which was owned by David and Irma Lampert.
And we had, out at the Lampert Farm, we had sukkahs outdoors.
That went on for several years, and it was a highlight here. Both Bill and I, we were I think, the second editors of the Temple Bulletin. Being editor of the Bulletin in those days was strictly getting the material, laying it out on paper on our dining room table and pasting it in columns.
Like cut and paste.
Cut and paste, right.
Yeah. We once put something in the bulletin, and then we called up different congregants to see and ask them questions. If they got the question right, which the answer was in the bulletin, they'd get a prize. And you'd be surprised how many prizes we didn't pass out.
To me, it's really has become like a second home. We saw our children grow up in there. Bat mitzvahs, confirmations, post-confirmations. It's really become a part of our life.
Many of our friends were already members of Temple Emanu-El, so we felt quite readily at home.
We were quite young, and our parents were all in Temple Bethel. So this was really a congregation of the next generation.
Rabbi Shapiro was one of the reasons why we found it very easy to join the temple. We were drawn to him, and he was very warm with the children.
He always put his hand on the bar mitzvah child's shoulder as he or she started to read from the Torah. And I always felt that it made the child feel as though nothing could go wrong.
My first committee chairmanship was as the chairman of the religious school. But when it came to running the program, Carla was at least as constructively involved as I. We were hoping that we could make the students feel more accomplishment and get a better sense of Judaism from a youngster's point of view.
We cared about education, and we wanted to do something to make it effective.
We really care about the cemetery and have been deeply involved for now a number of years, and
I am
this
now
is
the
the
chair of the cemetery committee. And my hope is that we can beautify the cemetery, which it needs, and that we can deal with some of the problems that face the cemetery, financial problems, space problems.
it touches a chord that has enriched our participation in temple activities. One of my fondest memories was when the congregation approved a proposal to purchase an Israeli bond. It was during the 1973 war, but the temple had plenty of financial problems of its own, but the congregation wanted to show solidarity with our people in Israel. I thought it did us proud. New members are the life cycle potential of a temple, and I must add that one of our fondest memories was that Jerry and Margie Summers were new members when I was president. If I could claim any credit at all, and I'm not entitled to for that or anything else, but that would be an achievement that that we would really enjoy.
If I were going to define how it was in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a strong sense of community. Synagogue life, I would say at that point, was pretty central. The school was very strong. The services were pretty well attended, and it was a wonderful feeling. It was a very warm feeling.
The temple was really the center of our social life. We would come to the temple for dances, we would have dinners at our home, and then meet back at the synagogue.
We also celebrated the 25th anniversary of the congregation then. We made a full weekend of it, and people were very excited. People really dressed for the occasion, and it was very, very special. And it was a real gala, and there was a lot of reminiscing. It was an historic trip for the evening, going through our history, and then the burning of the mortgage with all of the presidents of the temple who were with us at the time. Everybody really felt good, and everybody felt this was their community, this was their home. Rabbi Shapiro was very involved not only with the congregation but in the community. He was seen as the sort of the interfaith leader, really a beloved man in the congregation. We've really had 3 rabbis over the 50 years, which is unusual for a congregation. And I think we can pride ourselves in the fact that we've had that type of stability.
The sisterhood did a lot of fundraising. We had luncheons for the JRC. We did things for social justice. We had a lot of wonderful women who were leaders, who brought in new members. While the sisterhood was very involved, the brotherhood took a back seat. But now, the brotherhood is the strongest arm of the synagogue and has raised a lot of funds with their jazz festival, and Bitsy Bittman has really done a marvelous job. Marvelous. So we thank you, Bitsy.
We've had some good times. I guess the brother has helped the temple become better known community-wise, Boston area-wise, because of some of the things that the Brotherhood has done. We have all kinds of speakers. John Tierney pays an annual visit. We have doctors, we have authors, we have sports figures, we have jazz figures, We created the jazz concert about 14, 15 years ago, and it evolved to something much bigger than I ever thought it would be. We've had the Count Basie Orchestra here 3 times. We've had the Artie Shaw Orchestra here twice, and many important jazz personalities. And it's been a wonderful run. Makes me feel proud for the things that we have accomplished. It makes me feel good. We also we began our search for a new rabbi. We were looking for a young rabbi.
New ideas.
We needed to self-start the temple again. Invigorate the temple. We brought in a young rabbi, David Meyer. He immediately took hold here, and he became extremely popular. I think that's one of the reasons the young people flooded to our temple. I remember when I was president, the first thing that happened was the desecration of the temple.
What a terrible time that was. Some people said to erase all the desecration marks that were all over the temple. And I remember Bitsy and some others said, no, we're going to leave them up and have people see.
Horrific swastikas, down with the Jews, etc., things like that, all over the temple, front and back. And I saw no reason to take it down immediately. I wanted the people in the community to see what some deranged person did. The community response was terrific. They gathered around. It was a very difficult time, the late 80s, early 90s. And we managed, we came through it okay. And the temple's bigger and better than ever.
I went to Hebrew school here, Sunday school. Still know a lot of the people that were in my classes. There was certainly a feeling of connection and a place to go and be and feel yourself and feel, among friends and comfortable.
I grew up in a very committed Jewish family who was involved in the temple and in the synagogue. And so when I came here, it was like a home away from home.
For me, the most rewarding experience was the Capital Campaign. It had so many elements of support, so many elements of generosity, and so many elements of making new friends. There was a water problem in the basement. The electrical system was, in disrepair, not to mention the heat and the air conditioning, and we really needed to get the temple ready for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. People really just stepped up to the plate. After a board meeting one night, we were sort of closing up, and Rabbi Meyer was vacuuming the bima. I thought, boy, this doesn't seem right. I started thinking about, what can we do to really grow with the congregation. We would add on a full-time temple administrator, and we would get more members, and we would add more maintenance staff, and we would add on a full-time educator, and we did a lot of things that I think are lasting and beneficial to the temple.
It's a very happy place for me. It's a place where I come and I really feel that my spirituality gets nourished in a very special way. I love the services. I love coming for the high holidays.
One of the things that I find very exciting and that makes me proud to be a member of Temple Emanu-El is how easy it is to get the kids to come to the children's services. Rabbi Meyer comes out with a guitar and he gets everyone calmed down and gets them singing a song. They have a good time at the service. Those kinds of memories are now part of our children's memories and my memories, and it's a nice continuum between the generations that happens at those children's services.
This is a momentous anniversary, but it is also a critical time as we now turn our